All we see is the train wrecks. All we see is the people shooting up crystal meth on the street, and that's the entertainment of it. But what they don't see are those people that walk up the stairs wrecked. They walked up the stairs just a shell, and a short period later, they have their family back in their lives. There's so much hope for everyone. This is Recovery Now.
It got to, I lost my apartment, so I became homeless.
I want to be honest. I was raised to be honest, and you know, the way that I am now is not honest, and I gotta get honest with myself, you know, and with everybody around me.
When I disappeared for 10 days, sorry, I'm a little emotional because hearing your dad say that I missed out on so many things, it just gets to me.
This is Recovery Now. I am very excited to be here. It's been an amazing experience. The reason it's been so amazing is because people in the audience are in recovery. The audience has become a major part of Recovery Now. The purpose of Recovery Now is to bring hope to people who are suffering with addiction, or for families who have a loved one who's suffering with addiction. So Recovery Now is pretty amazing because it involves the crowd here, and you'll understand why. If it's your first time here, you're going to get really involved. But you're going to help us try to convince some people to get help if they want it. So it should be a good show. We have lots of guests, and thanks for coming. David, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mike.
And how much sobriety do you have at this point?
In 2 days, I have 1 year of sobriety.
Very cool. And I talk about the time, the amount of days that you have or the amount of months you have, and even though that's not as important, I think for people that are struggling, they need to hear that amount of time, that it's a possibility that you can actually do it. What's your life like today?
Today, I have a big support system. My family is back in my life, and that is huge for me. Before I got sober, I was very, very isolated, very alone, hopeless, and today I am building relationships and I have hope, so it's huge.
What is your drug of choice?
Methamphetamine.
Okay.
And marijuana.
And how bad did it get?
I was a daily user. I was an IV drug user. I was slamming crystal meth. I lost my job. It got to, I lost my apartment, so I became homeless. And I was just in horrible despair.
Homeless, jobless, no hope. How were you getting the drugs?
I was getting it as any way I could.
I think all of us that we've been in recovery, we're around recovery, we're around support systems, we might take for granted, that you get your family back, you get your life when you hear these stories. But for the person that's out there that's never entered into a support system, never entered into a treatment facility, never had an intervention, never went to any 12-step meetings, that's a pretty amazing thing that you went from being jobless and homeless to saying that the most important thing right now is your family. And that's an amazing accomplishment for you. Being in our families' lives, it's just such an amazing thing because it's that you don't have to pay for it. It's not a material thing. It's what really matters in life. And I think that when we're using, we're just so absent from that. In the back, I had asked you about what the most amazing thing has happened to you in this last year, and you had a great answer. Would you mind?
Sure. Just a couple months ago, my sister got pregnant, and she lives locally here in Los Angeles, and she's been asking me to come to her doctor's appointments with her, and she really wants me active in her life and in the baby's life, and so I'm going through this amazing process with my sister, and before I got sober, she wouldn't want me in her home. It was, so I'm looking forward to being an uncle again, and that's huge.
It's so amazing, just being present for life.
Yeah.
And so what's going on with you now? Do you have, how do you reach your hand out and help other people?
Well, I am going to a lot of meetings. I am volunteering at Frank's House. I went through Frank's House for recovery, and right now I'm volunteering 1 day a week at Frank's House and staying connected that way. I have commitments at meetings, and I am, just trying to stay connected to 12-step programs and to my sobriety.
So you're working, you're volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
you have commitments at meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in your sister's life to help her with her baby. Could you have done any of those things when you were using?
When I was using, it was impossible for me to even fix the brake light on my car for months. I mean,
Then you get pulled over. We know how that goes.
that's how it happened.
So you went to Frank's House, and now you had tried other programs before. Tell me about
Yes.
that experience.
Well, Frank's House is my second recovery house.
What was your first recovery center?
Spencer Recovery.
Okay.
And I went through Spencer in Florida and had a really great experience there. But I went to recovery out of state. And when I came back to Los Angeles, I found it difficult to I didn't get tied into the recovery community at home. I didn't develop a sober support system at home. I'm a little bit of a shy person, so it's not easy for me to go into a meeting by myself. The first time when I got back here, I just didn't get involved, and I relapsed after about a year and a half.
Okay.
This time when I went through Frank's House, I was able to go to meetings locally and develop sober friends locally, and that's really been the difference. Also at Frank's House is a recovery home focused on gay and lesbian recovery. So I'm gay, and that's also been very helpful because I've been able to be myself over there, and I've been able to kind of talk about those issues that are specific to me.
That you might have felt uncomfortable at a different facility.
Yeah.
I think any facility that you go to, it just depends on how comfortable you are. On a one-on-one level, at least you can get that taken care of. But at Frank's, having that opportunity on a group level, I guess, and not being fearful of, being judged in any way, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Letting your guard down and trusting the people around you so that you can get honest with yourself.
That's right.
And 1 year, almost 1 year, 2 more days left. That's pretty cool. And this time it's different, though. Last time was a year and a half, but this time it's different because you have the whole network of support around you.
Yeah, this time's completely different. I mean, this time I'm working the steps, going to meetings locally, daily, staying connected to the recovery house that I went through. I'm in sober living right now. So yeah, everything's different.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming up to share your story. I'm actually going to have you stay up here.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
The wonderful people from Frank's House have come forward to offer sponsorship to someone who really wants to get help. There's a waiting list right now to get into Frank's House, but there are private beds available, and Frank's House is willing to, in light of this show, give people hope and offer a treatment package to someone who really is in need. And we have someone in the audience here named Greg. Greg?